my name is Funke, which comes from Yoruba, one of the languages and tribes in Nigeria. I haven't always used the name Funke. My full name is Anne Olufunke Adeleke, and for a long time I was always Anne. I was 13 and I came back from Nigeria, and I was so keen to fit in and get on well with everybody. But I found myself being bullied at school. People taunted me for how I looked and how I spoke, simply because I had a very heavy African accent at the time. But I stopped using Anne initially when I joined an actors co-op. And part of what they came up with was that Anne doesn't really suit my personality, but Funke does. Like automatically, as soon as I said Funke, people could visualize who I am. And I found that really interesting, because for a long time, for as long as I've used the name Anne, interestingly enough, I never felt like I belonged, like that name belongs to me or that I belong to that name. Of course, the first 4 letters of Funke is funk. And I'm told all the time that I'm very funky, So that stuck, and I felt good. Automatically, I felt amazing. I felt like I didn't have to explain myself anymore. People didn't even ask me where you're from, which normally, as soon as they asked me, what's your name? And I said, Anne, the next thing would be, where are you from? Suddenly, no one's asking me where am I from. It's suddenly, oh, Funke, that's an interesting name. And where is that from? So it's the name that's from elsewhere. Because for me, I always had this real problem with having to say, oh, I'm from a certain place, but I was born here. Always felt I needed to explain that. And I didn't feel comfortable with it. But as soon as I said Funke and they say, where is that name from? And I say Nigeria or Nigerian, there was no extra feelings of awkwardness or confusion about who I am. I've always had this idea that people often saw my color before they saw me. This, my clothes, my head wrap, my accessories, I feel are all the things that make me feel like Funke. I feel great as Funke.